Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here. Zooming in today a little bit more in depth on the covert narcissist and how they minimize or essentially make foolish one's emotional needs. Now, really one of the hallmark and cardinal attributes of a narcissist, which we're learning, is the deficit or lack of empathy. Really that they're not able to relate to people, their needs, their feelings, their emotions. So there really starts to become this sort of gap, this sort of divide, this sort of distance that people feel in a relationship with a narcissist. And oftentimes people, while they're going through their relationship, they're working harder and harder, and they're utilizing more and more coping mechanisms to really try to keep the relationship intact, to try to keep it moving forward, to try to keep it cohesive, to try to keep it together. And oftentimes the coping method is really complying with the needs of the narcissist, or rather kind of identifying with more so with the needs of the narcissist than that of oneself. So the narcissist will essentially make one feel foolish for having a viewpoint of your own, or needs of your own, or a viewpoint that is unique and different. Well, it's really its uniqueness that makes the world go round. I mean, if we were all the same, it would make things very boring, as they say. So, the covert narcissist will be essentially like in a game of hide and seek, where now you see them, now you don't, they're here, then they're gone. They make their presence known and then they disappear. So that intermittent sort of reward keeps people in their life working even harder and harder to try to maintain a semblance of relationship and keep those emotional lines open. And the narcissist is very prone to this the covert narcissist is very prone to what I'm going to call essentially a hiding behavior, where they essentially retreat. They go off into an area of the house. They might go off into kind of like their computer room, or they might be very silent. They might spend a lot of time in the basement, or in the garage, like drinking, smoking, where people don't really see them. They engage in certain behaviors that they don't really want to share. And yes, everybody has their own, personal space, but really the covert narcissist tends to engage a lot more in this sort of retreat, retiring, sort of hiding behavior. And this causes really the people in their environment to develop a lot of coping mechanisms to try to deal with them. And specifically, the confrontational, approach tends to be a conflict consciousness with this type of person. So there's not oftentimes a lot of room for discussion. So the defense mechanisms that people try to deal with are oftentimes, not satisfactory. They don't really get them out of their shell. So this is a very typical experience of living and being in a relationship with a covert narcissist. So I would, just remember that this is a tactic, a coping mechanism, and a strategy. And really, what you do is, essentially, either you learn to accept them in the way that they are, and just say, essentially, this person is not going to be able to provide for my needs. They're not going to be able to hear my needs. They're not going to be able to understand them, really, no matter how hard I work. So I'm going to cease trying to work so hard and have our relationship success based on this. Instead, now I'm either A, going to let it go and just move on with my life, or B, I'm going to let it be and I have to move on with my life and find other ways, methods, and means to fulfill those relationship needs. Whether it's developing new interests, a new group of people, another confidant, things of that nature, so you eventually live life fulfilled and do not live life stifled from a covert narcissist. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.